So the final thing I will tell you, we do have some really terrific lab bowls. Lab bowls are a challenge for everybody. They're getting cheaper and cheaper. You can, we've been offered them for $6, $7. The problem is, on the lab bowls, Jim went to China and said, "Okay, I want a better bowl. What we want is we want the glazing to go all the way to the top, so they don't have to put a big bead of caulk on them because the glaze is getting lower and lower. We want to have glaze go inside the overflow hole, so you don't have to put that cheap plastic plug on it. We want the top level, so when he lays it down, it doesn't rock. If it's rocking and he clamps it, the crack's going to happen eventually. And we don't want any sand or bubbles in the finish. Nobody would agree to do it. Nobody. So finally, we got a factory that says, well, we can do all that, but they're going to inspect it in rather than do it. So we're getting the top 10% of the inspections, and we got it. The first container had the glaze, the glaze to the top and the flat, and had in the hole, and had everything right except it had sand in it. Okay, and Jim gets on the phone with a guy. Of course, we're 3 different languages to talk to these guys, and he's in the middle of the night, and they couldn't understand how we could see this issue. So we sent a guy over there that looked at the factory, and we had to buy new bulbs for their inspections, daylight corrected bulbs for their inspection stations, and then they could see it, and then they would give us they inspect it out. They didn't not make it that way, because understand that most of these lab bowls are cooled outside. They make them and they cool them outside with like a carport. Okay, and so if it's windy that day, you can get the and the bubbles. One of the big brands that begins with a K that I won't mention is notorious for having bubbles in the finish. I think most of their stuff comes from Mexico now, but so if you compete, we can compete because these are shipped one at a time in one box at a time. We receive one box at a time. We ship one box at a time. We could be a little more competitive in bulk. If you're interested in a bulk program, we can put together that where we'll bring them in stackable pallets. We can ship you a pallet. Rather than, because that shipping is the biggest challenge with ceramic bowls, especially in the winter. And if the guy drops the bowl, now you have samples.